A small, dirty puppy was brought into a vet clinic, looking like nothing more than a stray in need of a bath. But as the vet began to clean it, something unimaginable happened. What was supposed to be a routine rescue quickly spiraled into a horrifying discovery. You won't believe what he found. It was just another busy afternoon at Dr. Lawson's clinic. The constant buzz of phones ringing and pets barking filled the air, but the routine was broken when an emergency call came through. A woman arrived at the door, holding something wrapped in a blanket. The sight that met Dr. Lawson's eyes stopped him in his tracks. A tiny puppy, barely moving, lay in the woman's arms. But it wasn't like any puppy Dr. Lawson had seen before. Its fur was completely covered in thick, dried mud, almost as if it had been abandoned somewhere, left to rot in the elements. The woman's face was pale with worry. "Please," she pleaded, "I found it out in the woods. It was in such bad shape. I didn't know what to do." Dr. Lawson gently took the puppy from her, trying to ignore the gnawing feeling in his stomach. It was small, weak, and clearly malnourished. His mind raced with questions. How did this puppy end up in such a state? The woods were miles away, and no one in the clinic had reported a lost animal in the area. He knew he had to clean it up, but as he looked down at the puppy, something felt off. There was something more to this case than just a filthy stray. He could feel it in the air, a sense of unease that he couldn't shake. Dr. Lawson moved quickly, taking the puppy to a clean examination table. He gently placed it down, the small creature trembling under his touch. The mud was caked on so thickly that it seemed like a second skin. "Let's get you cleaned up, little one," he murmured softly, trying to calm himself more than the puppy. As he turned on the warm water and began to wash away the dirt, he couldn't help but notice how still the puppy was. It barely moved, its eyes half-lidded as though it didn't have the energy to react. Dr. Lawson worked carefully, using a damp cloth to gently scrub away the layers of grime that clung to the puppy's tiny body. The more he washed, the more the puppy's true form began to emerge, but it was nothing like what Dr. Lawson had expected. Beneath the dirt, he saw strange markings, unusual patches of skin, and something that didn't look like the soft, fluffy fur of a normal puppy. It almost looked scaled. At first, Dr. Lawson thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. Could it be that the mud had formed strange patterns on the puppy's skin? He paused for a moment, wiping his brow. The more he cleaned, the more bizarre the sight became. What was happening to this puppy? Dr. Lawson's instincts told him that there was something far beyond the surface. With one more swipe of the cloth, the last of the mud was gone. What lay beneath made Dr. Lawson's breath catch in his throat. The creature on his table was not just a dirty puppy. It was something entirely different. Dr. Lawson stepped back, his eyes widening as the last of the mud came off. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The puppy's skin wasn't smooth or soft. Instead, it had patches of scaly, textured skin, almost reptilian in appearance. His hands trembled as he reached out, touching the creature's small body. The scales were uneven, with some parts smooth, others jagged. Dr. Lawson's mind raced. Was this a rare skin condition? Some sort of deformity? The puppy's eyes were wide open now, glowing a piercing blue that seemed out of place on such a small, frail creature. As Dr. Lawson gently examined the puppy, he noticed that the skin wasn't just shedding in spots. It was almost as if it were alive in a way that was unnatural. The texture of the puppy's skin was changing in real time, shedding layers like some kind of reptile. The tiny creature was gasping for breath, but its body wasn't responding like a normal mammal. His heart skipped a beat as a sinking feeling spread in his chest. This wasn't just some dirty puppy. This was something entirely different. A hybrid? A mutated creature? He didn't know. He couldn't wrap his head around what he was seeing. Suddenly, the puppy made a noise, a low, strange growl, and Dr. Lawson froze, horrified. It wasn't like any sound he'd heard from a puppy before. This was something else, something animal, but not of any species he knew. He backed away slowly, panic starting to claw at him. What was he dealing with here? Dr. Lawson's mind was racing, his pulse hammering in his ears. He couldn't look away from the creature lying on the table, its strange, scaly skin now fully exposed. The puppy's growl sent chills down his spine. What was this thing? It was no longer a simple stray that needed a bath. This was something else entirely. The more he observed, the more unsettling details emerged. The puppy's breathing was erratic, almost labored, and its body twitched in unnatural ways. Dr. Lawson took a step back, his hands shaking as he tried to think clearly. He'd been a vet for over 15 years, and in all that time, he had never seen anything like this. He grabbed his phone with trembling hands, dialing the clinic's emergency number. "I need help now," he barked into the phone. "Get me a team here immediately. This thing isn't a normal puppy. I don't know what it is, but it's not right. Call 911. His voice was tight with panic as he realized just how serious the situation was. Dr. Lawson stood there, helpless, as the puppy's condition worsened by the second. Its eyes flashed with an unnatural intensity, its growls deepening into something that sounded almost threatening. He knew he had to keep it calm, but the situation was spiraling out of control. The puppy's body began to convulse, and Dr. Lawson nearly dropped his phone in panic. This wasn't a medical emergency. This was something completely outside his understanding, something he couldn't handle alone. Minutes felt like hours as Dr. Lawson paced anxiously around the exam room, his mind reeling with questions. The puppy's condition had gone from bad to worse, and the strangest part was the transformation that seemed to be happening before his eyes. It was almost as though the creature were changing, evolving into something other than a dog. Finally, the door burst open, and the team of experts arrived. An animal specialist, a zoologist, and a couple of emergency responders. They wasted no time in getting to work. The zoologist, a woman named Dr. Rivas, stepped forward, her eyes immediately locking onto the puppy. She knelt beside it, her brow furrowed with intense concentration. "What is it?" Dr. Lawson asked, his voice trembling. He had never been more grateful for help, but he was desperate for answers. Dr. Rivas examined the puppy closely, her hands gently moving over its body. She noticed the same strange features Dr. Lawson had observed earlier, the odd scales, the shifting skin. "This isn't just a genetic mutation," she said slowly. "It's something completely unknown to us. We're dealing with a creature that doesn't belong to any known species on this planet." The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Dr. Lawson stared at the puppy, his disbelief growing. This couldn't be real. But the more Dr. Rivas explained, the clearer it became. They had stumbled upon something extraordinary. This could be a hybrid, Dr. Rivas continued. A cross-species experiment gone wrong, or a rare, undiscovered animal. Whatever it is, it's not a normal dog. Dr. Lawson's heart pounded in his chest. He was no longer dealing with a simple medical case. This was something beyond his expertise, something the world might not be ready for. As the puppy was carefully transported to the research facility, Dr. Lawson stood in the clinic's doorway, his mind still racing. He couldn't shake the image of the strange creature, its scales glinting under the lights, its eyes filled with an intelligence he couldn't comprehend. What had they found? What was this thing? The questions were endless. Weeks went by, and the story of the mutant puppy spread beyond the walls of the clinic. News outlets picked up the story, and scientists from all over the world were eager to get their hands on the creature. Dr. Lawson had never expected a simple day at the clinic to turn into a global mystery. But that's exactly what had happened. As the experts continued their investigations, one thing became clear: the puppy wasn't just an anomaly. It was a biological marvel. Researchers were still studying it, trying to determine its origins, its species, and its purpose in the natural world. Every new discovery about the creature only added to the mystery. Dr. Lawson would never forget that day. The day he uncovered a life-altering truth about the unknown forces of nature. The world had just gotten a glimpse into something far greater than any of them could have imagined. What other secrets did the natural world hold?